Hello, all. Welcome. Hope you have some lunch with you. I'm Jen Jordan. I lead content and thought leadership at Insight Partners, which includes the amazing Scale Up AI conference coming up in just a few short weeks on November 12th. As a preview to this amazing event, I'm excited to introduce this fireside discussion today with A.Team CEO Raphael Ouzan and Insight Partners Managing Director Emmet Keeffe III. Our speakers today are pleased to offer you 35% off a virtual ticket for Scale Up AI, which this year features keynotes from Andrew Ng and Ali K. Miller. The code on the website will appear below during the chat, so keep an eye out. With that, please welcome our speakers to the stage. Take it away, Emmet.
Thank you, Jen, and welcome everyone to Scale Up AI Soundbites, an emerging series of AI-centric LinkedIn live sessions featuring prominent leaders from the Insight Partners portfolio that are shaping the future of AI. These talks set the stage for Scale Up AI, one of the first global conferences that brings together the top IT builders, executives, luminaries, and innovators. Insight Partners is thrilled that our portfolio company, A.Team, is a Scale Up AI partner this year, and I have the opportunity to interview their CEO, Raphael Ouzan, today, which is going to be fantastic. Just a personal comment, I've been working closely with Raphael since we made the investment, and I'm as inspired today as I always have been. The reality is that the world's best software product builders want to optimize for projects that they're excited, or products that they're excited to build, with teams that they know, respect, and trust, and with the flexibility to work wherever in the world they happen to live. So I really feel like A.Team is the future, and I'm really happy to be here, Raf, and to talk about some of these important topics.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be here as well, especially talking with you.
Fantastic. Well, just wanted to kick off, there's been an incredible amount of momentum and enthusiasm around AI, generative AI, et cetera, over the last few years. And I think we've sort of landed right now in a trough of disillusionment. There's been a lot of piloting done, a lot of initial use cases done. I mean, incredible amount of activity. But I think global companies are having a hard time realizing the ROI behind this technology, and we seem to be in sort of a pause at the moment. Love to hear your point of view. I mean, what's causing global companies to get stuck, and what do you think needs to happen from here?
Yeah, there's something particularly deceptive, I think, about this new wave of transformation. Like if we said that AI transformation is a new digital transformation, where there's been a lot of pressure to come up with plans and realizing that there's something in particular generative AI technologies that can be leveling the playing field, essentially creating both opportunities and potential for disruption pretty much across every industries. We even see that the battle going on at the cloud level with the largest tech giants on the planet, companies that we never thought their business model could be challenged, to be scrambling to experiment and push products out before they're fully ready because there's just no other choice. Now, what's challenging about the particular application of AI we see is twofold. One is that it's deceptively fast to put a prototype together. And that looks amazing. And we're like, okay, sign me up. Let's go do this. Let's allocate budget. And then we find, like we typically find with emerging technologies, that it's actually much harder in real life to go from prototype to getting value in production. So that's a very significant challenge, particularly when you're operating in an environment that is so rapidly evolving, but is yet so immature. So it's constantly changing. There are no real and true best practices just yet that have had time to mature. And yet there is a need to move at breakneck speed given that environment. Now, the second challenge is one that we've seen in the previous wave of transformation, and someone was tried to be avoided, which is the fact that most companies today are focused mostly from an IT, from technology standpoint, in integrating systems. So the typical way to embrace technology, so to speak, is to buy licenses to software and spend a little bit of budget to customize it to the needs of a particular company. However, to be able to add AI to existing product lines, or to, better yet, develop new revenue streams and creating new value through AI, is where most companies are now thinking, and they see the opportunity. So I think in broad strokes, you could say there's plenty of companies that have tried to tap into the incremental improvements from adopting kind of off-the-shelf AI tools. And then they're like, okay, but the real opportunity, like that's 20, 30% maybe, is to build with it. But then realize that it is not just about the AI technology per se, and not about just the AI expertise, but about the product expertise. How do you tie basically the business stakeholder with a need, whether it's a customer or an internal employee, with the AI technology and the ability to look at it from a product, legal, user experience standpoint to get it all the way there, especially in a context where, for the first time broadly, you could say, we're building intelligent systems that by definition, you're writing code that you don't know what it does exactly.
Very, very interesting. You've touched on another key point. I remember 20 years ago when Agile really got popular at large global companies, there was this talk about shifting from a project to a product delivery organization. And CIOs have been talking about it literally for the past 20 years. And most organizations have not made great progress in this area. It feels like now may be the time for this breakthrough to happen. And I'm just curious, what's your point of view on that? And if an organization really does want to move to a product delivery capability, how do they do that?
Yeah, it's indeed been a motto for quite some time, and a challenge for many organizations, which is rooted in many ways in breaking silos and solving a talent problem. Breaking silos because technology cannot just belong in one department. To take technology and make it a product, the business stakeholder, the operational stakeholders across the organization, the marketing stakeholders, and so on, have to work in tandem to bring their piece and make it work cohesively to serve the user or the customer in a good way. The talent issue is that, okay, we're focusing now mostly the headlines read 62% of tech leaders don't have AI talent. AI talent is so expensive and hard to find and so on. So many try to consolidate and actually, okay, bring their AI experts, nominate heads of AI and so forth. And that's great, but it's only part of the problem, because the broader talent gap is such where bring people who have experience building products that can work cross-functionally across the organization to be able to take the AI pieces, the data infrastructure, the legal complication, the compliance requirements, the auditing requirements, it's all the way through all the steps required and the iterations required to be able to deliver on a product. So essentially it goes back to the team. Now, some of the best companies that we've seen out there have built new playbooks to do so. Because don't forget that while there's that talent gap and that structural gap, if you will, it's actually not that hard to solve by bringing the right people. But there is an overall pressure to not grow headcount significantly. And how do you bring the type of culture, the type of agility, the type of product-focused mindset to go from systems to product? We've seen blended team type of models emerge, where you, by definition, try to bring people into teams that come from different environments, coming from certain tech giants, from startups environment, collaborating deeply in an embedded way with the talent workforce within the organization to be able to take on the business cases that have started a lot of these AI projects that are now stuck in many ways, where, at the level of headlines of we all in on AI, yes, we're going to build these products and so on, and we don't fully yet know what they are as we're facing the reality of that challenging ecosystem, to be able to take that and understand how to draw the line to all the way to value. So there's a management of it, there's a talent of it, and there's the team building that brings on additional culture, abilities, and best practices into to go from system to product.
That's great. So I just want to double click on that a little bit. So you talked about the BCG study that mentioned 62% of tech leaders feel like they don't have the right talent. At Ignite, which is a program inside of Insight Partners that works with Global 2000 companies, and we work across all verticals and all geographies. And many of these organizations have a hard time getting talent purely because of where they're located. And sometimes based on the sort of the overall topic that the business is focused on. If you could talk a little bit about the psychology of a builder. I know that many of these builders want to work on massively scalable projects. They want to build software that's going to touch millions and millions of people. I think what's interesting about this opportunity is that many of these projects are going to attract some of the world's best talent once we can break this paradigm. If you could just talk about their psychology a little bit.
Yeah, I think there is this kind of a typical archetype or kind of builder journey, if you will. You work at a big top 5 tech giant. You do some great work there. It's a great environment, but then you realize that you have a skill that is extremely rare and extremely impactful. I think a lot of people have looked back and said, there's so much more that I could be doing. I want to choose what I work on and who I work with to be able to have so much more impact. I think through the different waves of change that we had to go through as a society, even over the past few years, people realized, okay, life's short. Like, I want to make sure I do meaningful things. Mm-hmm. And we've seen hundreds and now thousands of very highly skilled product managers, designers, engineers, data scientists, growth marketers, data researchers, and so on apply to join the A.Team network with that goal of being able to work on very meaningful problems. And what surprised us was how much activation energy, how much of a draw, actually, some of the maybe the less sexy from a tech standpoint kind of companies, the ones that are actually solving real problems, mm-hmm. fundamentally, they've been around for decades for many of them, to be able to inject technology and to rethink how they can leverage their oftentimes incredible treasures of domain expertise, of data, of experience, to service their customers and push forward entire industries, has been for A-teamers.
Yeah.
So there's almost this kind of redistribution or leveling of the playing field, I think, that's going on, where you have some of the best builders from tech giants are like, I want to work with an education company and rebuild how people how this whole world of education works. Part of it is AI, a lot of it is product, mm-hmm. and handling the getting to the consumer, or in healthcare, where of course if there's an industry or financial services where there's so much data and treasures hidden in plain sight that just are waiting to be productized with better user experience, better data systems, better infrastructure, to be able to serve the customer significantly better, where you have potential for improvement and for scale and for impact that is absolutely tremendous. So that is very attractive for A-teamers, and we see that these are some of the most sought after missions and projects that are forming, and it's quite amazing to see leaders at these companies forming their A-teams to either augment their existing teams with the talent that they may have been missing, with the best practices and approaches that come from different environments and different cultures, to full-blown projects, and taking them on from inception of, okay, you have the business idea and you see the opportunity. Let's translate that into a product strategy. Let's bring on the team that can prototype it. Now, once you have a prototype, let's understand here's the ecosystem of problems that have to be solved, and we already solved a lot of them in other places. Here's what works, right? And seeing the rapid path towards very meaningful and very fulfilling type of business impact is extremely rewarding.
That's so exciting. One of the things I appreciate about A-Team, and I felt it the minute we met for the first time, and I met some of your other founding partners and employees, et cetera, is the culture inside the company is absolutely amazing. And you actually leverage A-Team to build A-Team, and many of the technology that you have today, you've actually worked with A-Team members to build that. I understand recently you've been working on a sort of a team formation AI project and doing some of this work internally, which gives you great learning opportunities. Can you talk about what you've learned and what are some of the insights coming out of that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right about A-Team building for A-Team and having this culture focus on enabling builders and being builders ourselves. And I think that's why a lot of yourself and a lot of people at Insight, and of course the people at Tennis Scale AI and many others are here to build. And we know that build is a team sport, and we have to collaborate to do it. And when you think when you look at the world of AI and generative AI in particular, we have to come up with the best practices very quickly, and that will come from our conversations, from sharing our learnings, from sharing our mistakes. And we see the A.Team network accelerate on that through guilds that are cross sections from technologies like a particular aspect of generative AI, particular problems within the infrastructure, on observability, on evaluation, on those type of typical problems, and industries and how they apply. And the amount of learnings going on, building blocks, playbooks being conceived are a huge acceleration. As far as team formation AI goes, the ability to combine this collective intelligence into the teams that can work well together, that have experience, not just that going basically past just, hey, do you have the right skill set? Can you code in that language? Like the typical hiring bar, to the problem that you've solved before and with whom is a big enabler. I think the enabler for us translates to leveraging the data of the team graph that powers A.Team, that basically captures who worked on what and with whom, with the ability to do projects, enables us to essentially deliver on small teams that can deliver on exponential impact. Because these teams know how to work well together, they're excited and opt in to solve a particular problem, that they've solved something quite similar in the past, and they're enabled by the collective learnings, building blocks, integration path, and so on, to get the fastest way possible and the best way possible, leveraging whatever best practices has been learned in the past few days, perhaps, of implementation of certain technologies to solve the problem in a meaningful way.
That's great. One of the things we're hearing from large global companies is, they're laying down the infrastructure, which is going to be in place for the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years. I mean, this is a major technological shift, and there's a lot of work to be done just to prepare for this next phase. But they do have projects that need to get done right away. I mean, the pressure at the board level is extraordinary. CEOs, there's a ton of pressure coming from the CEO. So there are a lot of projects that have to be done in 30, 60, 90-day sprints. And global companies are looking to the well-known services firms that we all know, and they're not getting what they need to get those projects done at speed. I'm just wondering, and I've talked a lot about this, but do you see an opportunity to partner with one or more of those large global firms? And also, why are they going to have a hard time sort of transforming into this next generation AI era?
The world of services is structured in a particular way, which makes it hard to move from a model where you essentially have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees to go on and do that really work for extensive, very long-term type of projects. This made perfect sense for the previous approach to digital transformation. Very long projects, a lot of infrastructure, takes years to get to value. There's always and it's kind of an evergreen type of project, because by the time you've structured the data properly to extract insights from it, so much time has gone by that the business has already quite changed. So you have to keep updating it. With everything we just talked about, thinking much more in terms of products, the speed, we're talking about completely different order of magnitude of speed. Okay, if it takes you 3-4 years to go and deliver on these promises and these opportunities, well, the competition has done it faster, will do it faster. So we need a different approach to this. Plus, the ability to work on unstructured data for the most part enables much faster time to market, potentially, if you know how to leverage the right partners, the right technologies, and the right approach. So I think our take on this is small team, exponential impact. You can get so much more done at times with 5 people than you can with 200 from an external partner. Having the connectivity embedded in a way that enables that one project to help go from system to product from an upskilling and cross-pollination standpoint, because we're entering this era where it's going to be about building multiple products and multiple capabilities and adding AI and better data infrastructures that enable us to extract insights and build value and unlock new value streams from that on an ongoing basis. So we see that model accelerating and being a very good fit for this situation. Now, the partnership there is indeed, I think, quite key, where the long-term, multi-year infrastructure projects and cloud migration type of projects, there'll always be a need for that. That's not a fit for A.Team. Where the A.Team focuses on systems to products, adding AI to your products, so building new products based on the treasures of data that you have, essentially taking on understanding ROI based on past experience within the particular industries, and getting you all the way there.
Yeah.
Different. This is smaller, faster, and very value driven by way of building products that leverage AI expertise, but add what is needed to get to the end goal.
That makes sense. I mentioned this a while ago, Raph, at Ignite. We recently partnered with MIT to define what does it mean to be a real-time business. And once we defined that, we went and looked for businesses that are showing characteristics of being a real-time business. And then we compared their financial performance to other companies that are not real-time. And we actually proved academically that the faster you move, the better your financial performance, which, seems obvious, but we did a project to really prove that. So I just want to touch again on the people side again. What we're hearing from global CIOs is they're concerned about their organization not coming up to speed fast enough on AI. And this is emerging as one of the key challenges. I mean, the technology is moving fast. There's a lot of resources are available, but I think the people side is going to become a major limiter. And I'm just wondering, how do you keep your A-Team members up to speed? How do you train them? And how can A-Team help sort of augment and solve this training problem that I just mentioned?
Yeah. Like we said, the best practices are being formed as we speak. New use cases and learnings are emerging every single day. Mistakes to avoid also emerging every single day. The big so we've always had the ability to gather this information and learnings and insights on an ongoing basis from through this guild. So those micro focused peer groups with top professionals within a very specific areas within AI, within particular industries, and that overlap. The next step for us has been particularly seeing that with AI, with generative AI in particular, there is a plethora of building blocks that are emerging very, very quickly. I think many of them are even within the Insight portfolio, and we're lucky to partner with or have the ability to integrate. Being constantly up to date on the best practices, the best components to bring together is absolutely key. And what we've been building is is the glue, essentially, that knows for particular use case, let's say within legal, within healthcare, within financial services, etc. What are the right components that should be evaluated? How to put them in together, tie them in together in a way that ensures observability, auditing, compliance, cost efficiency, and cost tracking in a proper way. That basically handles the very large matrix of things to think about when going from prototype to production, to basically make this whole set of roadblocks something that is solvable very quickly by having the right recipes, essentially. So that is a big shift that we see unlock use cases to actually get to that production line and not get stuck on all kinds of legitimately hard questions, such as I have these AI agents. How do I track that they're answering the right things? How do I get triggered? How do I get alarmed, notified when they don't? How do I set up the human in the loop component properly? And I think many companies find themselves in that situation where they've started to integrate some of these building blocks. But the last mile is sometimes the hardest. There's almost this kind of like AI Pareto moment where you got like to the 60 or 80%, and then it takes a very long time to get to the finish line. And that is solved by some of those recipes that we mentioned. And from a talent perspective, to be able to bring into a company the independent contributors and builders into the teams, to be able to bring the managers and architects that have seen how to integrate those kind of pieces into the enterprise environment in a compliant and sustainable way, all the way to fractional C-level executives from the CXO network that can talk about their experience running large-scale transformations, what are the pitfalls to avoid, and how to structure it, how to even communicate it, is really important, and to be able to flex between whatever is needed at any given time with agility with these companies, going from building to strategizing to maintaining to planning, and always kind of back and forth through that, through the different iterations, is for many companies becoming the secret weapon.
That's so great. You and I have had the opportunity to work on many large global enterprises together, and one of the things I find so fascinating is if you bring passion together, you bring talent, you bring a diverse set of resources and responsibilities, and you apply that to a product delivery, you're just going to get speed that's never been seen before. I've been incredibly impressed by how fast these teams can move. I just want to shift for a minute to a topic that's also very close to my heart, and that is I've been working with CIOs for almost 3 decades now, and know them very well, know what's in their mind, and in the back of every CXO's mind, and this is CIO, CISO, CTO, Chief Data Officer, is they know one day they want to move into a portfolio career. One day they want to consult, advise, sit on a public board, sit on a private board, advise a founder, etc. What's also fantastic about A.Team is I know you bring CXOs on board that are done operating to play key roles in these projects, and just love to hear about how you do that and what the opportunity might be for some of these leaders.
Yeah, this is it's fascinating to see, and we discovered a lot of that through working together, where people that have somewhat mastered the game, they like reached the final level of corporate technical leadership or innovation leadership, realize that now it's about widening the aperture, doing knowledge transfer from their very deep expertise in particular areas, and how interestingly it can be applied and how meaningfully it can be applied to tangential areas is something that becomes increasingly compelling. Essentially, sharing the same type of drivers and builder journey that we mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, with coders and engineers and designers and so on, but at the level of leading massive transformations from sometimes Fortune 50 that are for some of them part of the network. It becomes such an unlock when in the particular scenario where you have companies that realize that the shift is happening, that they have to be less incremental and push towards new products and new offerings that are in part enabled by AI as an opportunity, but cannot get to the execution phase without first understanding how to weave that in to the fabric and the muscle development of the company, and to be able to start there and go all the way down to execution is key. And those conversations are mind-shifting at first because they differ from the typical consulting engagement, to have actual practitioners who've done it, who have the scars, the battle scars of having done it in major organizations, to come in and say, oh, don't repeat my mistakes. Here's how you can focus this and make this happen for you.
Yeah, I think I have many friends that have gone into the portfolio career, and I think one of their concerns is, how do I stay plugged into the technology? How do I stay on the tip of the spear? How do I stay relevant? And many of them have said that by working on these, with these A-teamers and on these incredibly strategic projects, keeps them right at the center of everything, which is really important during that next portfolio career. Final question, Raph. It's been a fantastic discussion. I know you wrote a piece or sort of did an op-ed piece recently for Fast Company that's been well received. Can you just talk about some of your insights there and maybe wrap things up for us?
Yes, maybe a good tie into the real-time research that you mentioned. I think it makes sense for like, yeah, okay, I want to be real-time, I want to be able to move faster. How do I do it? There's a strong push towards productivity where I have pressure to not grow headcount. I need to be more agile to be able to invest and divest in different areas. I understand there's a skill gap on AI and I have to bring AI properly. I have to bring other types of expertise. Like if we listen to this conversation now, to be able to do product development, product management, design, the whole last mile, even after I've integrated an off-the-shelf platform, and I thought that was enough. No, I still need to bring people. It becomes very tricky on both sides, because I have to move fast and I have to be increasingly efficient and agile. And companies that realize that, start to see the emergence of a model of blended teams, where they look at the teams like, okay, I have great people. I need to bring in additional experts that come from different backgrounds in a way that I blend the full-time employees of my core team that know how to handle a vast array of problems, to bring the more I-shaped, if you will, the more experts that come from different areas to help solve specific problems alongside the team. And this model is scalable across any type of technology and teams, brings in the case of AI, expertise and new ways of thinking, and the ability to move with agility towards product development, and can flex based on the needs of the business very quickly, with people that are there not necessarily for the promotional ladder, but rather for getting products out the door and getting to success that they sign up for. And that pushes thing forward and gives us a shot at being a real-time organization.
That's fantastic. Well, Raph, as always, it's incredible interacting with you. It's been an absolute pleasure working together. Looking forward to many exciting things in the future. Thank you for being a partner of Scale Up AI, and thanks for all your insights today. Really appreciate it.
Likewise, thank you for your founding guidance, support, and direction every step of the way. As someone who has such a unique access and community of CIOs and other CXOs, to be able to shape the future of this this world of technology, and facilitating the emergence of models that can get us to be the